r/AskReddit. What was the worst pain you have ever felt? I tore a contact and scratched off a good portion of my cornea when I was a junior in high school. Any light at all sent me into a spiral of pain. My dad was convinced it was allergies, so he had me take like 4 Benadryl. I still didn't sleep. When he finally took me to the doctor the next day, they put the dye in my eye to see if it was scratch. Half my eye turned orange. I wore an eye patch for like a week. I've had double knee surgery, broken bones, scratched my eye, had a brick wall fall on me, and many other injuries. But nothing compares to that terrible feeling. I was absolutely screaming all night long. When I was 7, I decided to go on a bike ride. Being the idiot I was, I thought I could go down a really steep road all by myself without supervision. This was just after I had learned to ride a bike. When I started to pick up speed, I thought I should stop my bike. But instead of putting my feet down and slowly come to a halt, my dumbass thought I'll just squeeze the brakes and the bike will stop. Instead, I went all the way down the road, crashed into someone's electrical box, and practically flew off my bike. I broke my right side of my femur. That wasn't even the most painful part though. That was when my dad found me and thought, yeah, he looks fine, and grabbed me by the arm to try and lift me off my feet. Obviously it hurt like hell. Edit. The bike had no rear brakes. It was a pretty basic kid's bike. And by using feet I meant my shoes. Sorry for not clarifying. I've got a variety of stories, including a waterboarding variation and other torture. I'm not a fragile person. I've shattered my tailbone and laughed it off. But I once overdosed on Lamictal, an anti-epileptic/antipsychotic, prescribed for depression by an idiot of a doctor. 2 times the lethal dose. I'm 100 pounds. I couldn't get my stomach pumped because I didn't go to the ER for 6 hours after taking it. I was delirious, had very little control over my muscles, was crying and vomiting uncontrollably. I was carried in, and they all rushed into action the way they only do in movies and TV to get me hooked up to an IV and machines. I wasn't allowed pain medication for obvious reasons, and don't remember much of it, but I remember convulsing and grunting from pain, and feeling an animalistic terror of I'm actually going to die. These are my final moments. It felt as if God had filled my entire body with heavenly fire, then bludgeoned me with a sledgehammer. I can't even describe how terrible it was. But despite all odds, I not only survived the whole ordeal, but felt as if nothing had happened within 36 hours. It was pretty surreal. I had a hernia that turned into an infection. Basically my knee turned into an outie. Being 16 and invincible, I ignored it for a few days until I could not walk anymore. It was the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. I had my mom take me to the hospital. They put me into emergency surgery, and after waking up in the middle of surgery and having to be put back under, I awoke in a hospital bed with no belly button. Gods, I was strong then. My co-worker and I would go on a bike ride nearly every day. One day, I had a flat front tire and borrowed a wheel from another co-worker. We were coasting down a long hill when a Chevy Chevette coming uphill crossed so far over the double yellow line that it forced us both off onto the shoulder. I fishtailed on the soft shoulder and almost got it back before hitting a stone wall and flipping the bike. I landed on exposed bedrock, breaking my L4 vertebrae in my right clavicle and splitting my helmet in 2. My friend came up to me and declared that was an awesome crash. Then I tried to sit up, and that was the worst pain I ever felt in my life. An hour later, the woman I had been secretly dating showed up at the hospital, whereupon I, under the influence of narcotics, declared my undying love for her for all to hear. We married a year later. What an adorable ending to a horrific story. Congrats. I have had a leg amputated for gangrene, a heart attack, half my esophagus and stomach removed, cancer, and osteomyelitis of my spine. The worst pain was when they put a pressure cuff on the leg to measure blood flow. I broke the table and would have broken the doctor if he hadn't been so fast. Edit. Thank you, kind people. For those who are asking, I lived on Mountain Dew and McDonald's and got about 150 pounds overweight. I was athletic when I was younger and quit. By the time I found out I had type 2 diabetes, the damage was already done. While you are still young, eat better and take care of yourself. The only vice I have left is coffee. Not physical pain so much, but I had a major anxiety/depression breakdown where I couldn't eat for a week, was crying so much that my tears gave me a rash, literally couldn't force myself up off the bed/floor sometimes, couldn't escape thoughts of suicide for even 10 minutes, and lost the ability to want anything whatsoever. I felt like I couldn't scream hard enough to express what I was going through, no matter how long and loud and raw I cried. I checked myself into the hospital for a bit, started therapy and meds, quit and moved back home, started exercising and eating better, got back to work, and I'm doing okay now. I'm actually moving out of my mom's house and into my own place next week. Once in 11th grade I felt a small discomfort from a gas buildup and so I went until lunch to relieve myself. No way I'm going to be the dude who stank up the whole classroom and deafened the class, and nothing happened until 10 seconds later. It felt like my guts were trying to expand out of my torso and I couldn't move. I tried to get up and get pulled my pants up and then fall down as it got worse. Tried calling for help, but my voice didn't want to work and was more focused on making pained grunts. It took until one of my friends in 5th period, we have 5 classes a day and lunches after the 3rd, said where's up. I saw him at lunch. They checked the sign out sheet, nope, didn't go home, so where? They looked first in the bathroom, thank God, and found me macking his awful pained grunts as my guts inflated. Then one of the teachers had to get the principal to get the special stall unlocked for when a-holes lock the stall, and then slide under to get out and help me to a chair and get me into my mum's car. I was then taken to the ER, where I then had the gas expelled, and now when I need to let one rip I find a bathroom, so I never have to be half carried out of a bathroom again. Edit. Thanks for the comments about your similar stories. Glad to know I'm not the only one this has happened to. Edit 2. This got a lot more attention than I thought it would. So thanks all you lovely people of Reddit and dogs. Can't forget the cute dogs that have a secret Reddit account. When my 2 front teeth were shattered by a tennis rack in elementary school, had to sit and wait in the ER for 4 hours with my exposed tooth nerves. The pain was absolutely horrible, like getting red hot nails hammered into your jaw over and over again. 0 out of 10 would not recommend. Made out with a jellyfish while ducking under a crashing wave in waist high water. Its tentacles had covered my entire face and both my eyes also got stung. I couldn't see for a couple days, and for some reason the tear ducts were constantly secreting liquid. In the process of removing it, I got stung on both my hands, wrists, and arms. It was not a good day at the beach. Fell into a cement mixer one time. Getting lime into open wounds and your eyes is a special kind of pain. How do you fall into a cement mixer? Having gallstones for a year, my doctor didn't believe me that I was in severe pain after eating all the time. He just said it was because I was overweight. I dropped 30 pounds in 7 months, then 75 pounds 3 months. I was starving. My hair was falling out. I could only have bread and sweet potatoes as anything else would trigger an attack. I would hide from everyone on campus and go scream in my car every time I had an attack until it was over. I went back to my doctor 100 pounds down. I still wasn't believed. I finally got a second opinion. They set me up with a surgeon immediately. I could eat normally 5 days later. But now I still deal with the psychological scarring from starvation. I now have a binge eating disorder. An eye infection that turned into a massive corneal ulcer. Feels like a constantly twisting hot poker drilling through your eyeball and into the back of your skull. Pain meds do nothing for it because there are no blood vessels in the cornea, but they give you stuff anyway hoping it will take the edge off a little. Makes kidney stones feel like a tickle. You can't close your eyes because it hurts. You can't keep them open because it hurts. You can't do much but sit in a dark room and writhe with pain. You can't read or watch TV to keep your mind off it because it hurts. You have to put 2 different alternating antibiotic drops in your eye every 15 minutes for a week. That's not every 15 minutes you're awake. That's every 15 minutes period. You need someone to make sure you're awake enough to use the drops, or you'll miss it and lose your eye. After a few days you feel like you're hallucinating.